The Wally Show podcast is our daily radio show heard live through the WayFM app each morning and hosted by Wally, Gavin, and me, Betty Rock. For more fun, be sure to connect with us at wayfm.com/Wally.
The Wally Show podcast is brought to you by Colorado Christian University Online, where you can earn a degree online just like Betty Rock. You can learn more at ccu.edu/Wally.
Uplifting WayFM, this is The Wally Show. And recently we did a podcast with Tara-Leigh Cobble. She's the host of the Bible Recap. It's a daily Bible reading plan to read through the Bible in 1 year. And, it's really good. She has a podcast herself that goes along with this and kind of explains it. My wife's doing it, and I get to listen to the podcast with her. It's great. So I wanted to know, as believers, we know we're supposed to read our Bibles, but I think you have to want to do it. So I asked her, what would she say to someone who isn't sure about taking on reading the whole Bible?
Well, I would say I relate to a reluctance to want to read Scripture, like a fear that you're going to fail, a fear that you're not going to understand it. Maybe you've tried and failed. And you said something just now, Wally, that I think is interesting. You have to want to. But whenever I first read it, I confessed to my pastor, I said, I don't want to read it, but I want to read it.
I like that.
So how do I get from the want to the want to? And he just said, ask the Lord to meet you there. Ask the Lord to change your heart, to give you that desire. And so every day I would be like, help me want to do this. Sometimes I would see my Bible across the room and I'd be like, oh, I've got to read that.
Did it help you to want to, you'd get some little revelation or some nugget? You're like, oh, I never thought of that before. And so that kind of helps build your desire to want to?
Oh, for sure. When you start to see the progress, it's like if you start going to the gym and you're like, oh, well, I used to only be able to curl 10 pounds and now I can curl 12 pounds. I'm making progress. You see the journey evolving and you feel a little further along the path.
Okay, what's this gym you're talking about?
Yeah.
A lot of foreign terms were just thrown my way. So if you want to check out the entire podcast, we have the whole conversation for you. Or if you want to sign up for the Bible Recap or just find out what it's about, just text the word RECAP, RECAP, RECAP to 91979 and we will send you a link. And coming up in 10, I'm going to go through a little bit of how being biblically knowledgeable can play out in your life. And so we'll do that with Tara-Leigh Cobble in 10 right here on The Wally Show. Uplifting WayFM, this is The Wally Show. And recently we sat down and did a video podcast with Tara-Leigh Cobble. She's the host of the Bible Recap. It's a daily Bible reading plan to read through the Bible in a year, and my wife is doing it, and it's really good. And my mind works a little differently than most people, though, and I was super curious about how knowing so much about the Bible plays out in your real life. So, if you have a doctor at your party, people are always going to walk up and ask them for medical advice. Does this look swollen? Mm-hmm. What should I do about this? Do you find people in your life picking your brain about Bible stuff that they don't understand just kind of casually?
Oh, yeah. And I'm often caught off guard. Sometimes don't know the answers. Have to tell them I'm going to have to open my Bible and look and see what you're talking about because I want to have my eyes on this text and make sure I know what it says.
Well, speaking of that, let's put you on the spot here. There's one I've always struggled with. I've always struggled with this. Yes. The Israelites leaving Pharaoh, okay? When the Bible says, the translation I've read says, and God hardened Pharaoh's heart again. That to me takes out free will out of the equation if God is messing with that and saying, well, to accomplish this goal, I need you to do this. But Pharaoh seemed like he was going down the right path, but then God hardened his heart. I've never heard that explained in a way I could understand.
Wally, are you trying to put me on the spot to have a conversation about election versus free will?
Yes. Yeah, just a little thing like that. It's a simple subject.
Surely I can summarize it in just a brief interview here.
If you wouldn't mind. I mean, it's kind of like we're at a party just hanging out.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay, I will be honest with you. We did not get an answer on that one. Still working on that and still trying to figure that out. But if you want to see the rest of the interview, the whole thing we did, or sign up for the Bible Recap, which, again, I think is really, really well done. Her podcast that explains what you've just read is fantastic. Just text the word RECAP to 91979. That's RECAP to 91979, and we will gladly send you a link. Uplifting WayFM, this is The Wally Show, and Tara-Leigh Cobble is the host of the Bible Recap. It's a daily Bible reading plan to read through the Bible in 1 year, and we got to sit down with her. It's really good, by the way, and we got to sit down with her and ask her some questions about this and go through it. And if you want to see any of our conversation, if you've missed any of it so far, just text the word RECAP because that's the name of her thing, the Bible Recap. Text the word RECAP to 91979, and we'll send you a link to the video, and you can also sign up for the Bible Recap or just check it out if you want to from there as well. But I was curious, as someone who has read through the Bible 15 times, not me, Tara-Leigh, what's a great way to start reading the Bible?
I love the Bible Recap because it gives you the story from the beginning to the end. That's one of the ways that people engage with story is we start at the beginning, we move the way through. You don't show up halfway through a movie, and expect to understand the plot. And so this is the story of who God says he is, how he's revealed himself to mankind. And if we read that story in order, which, by the way, took me a long time, I didn't know that wasn't just front to back. Front to back isn't chronological.
Right.
Because it's laid out like a library. And so you have to kind of flip back and forth sometimes. So reading the story in the order that it happened is the way we're going to best understand. And if we don't understand who God is and his story, it's going to be really hard to love him in the right ways because we're going to have things out of context. We're going to see him being angry at people and not understand why he's angry and just think he's an angry God. Or we're going to see him punish people and not understand why he's punishing them and think that, wow, this God is really vindictive. But when you read the story in order, I think is just such a great way to do it. And it helps it make sense because we're trying to not just read it to check a box. We're trying to learn who God is.
Yeah, and that was a distinction I hadn't really thought about before. It makes more sense, the things that God does when you read it in order. And like my wife has found the same thing because she's doing the Bible Recap as well. So we'd love to have you check it out. Again, if you want to see any of our conversation with her, like, man, I really want to get into this, just text the word RECAP to 91979 and we'll send you that link. Uplifting Way FM, this is the Wally Show. So if you're not familiar with the name Tara-Leigh Cobble, maybe you should be because she is the host of the Bible Recap, and we've partnered with her because I think she's amazing. It's a daily Bible reading plan to get through the Bible in 1 year. My wife is committed to doing this. She does it when we're on vacation. She makes sure she gets it in, and I get to listen to the podcast with her because Tara-Leigh does like a recap of what you've read. Because honestly, I think that's important. Like, I get lost in some of the, history of it, or I don't know the full context, and she's really good at providing that without making you feel dumb. And so there are so many stories and characters in the Bible, and I was curious, as a Bible expert, who she thought might be the most interesting but underrated Bible character, like someone who didn't have as good of a publicist as Noah and Moses.
Well, let me tell you about my Bible boyfriend. His name is Apollos.
I've never heard of Apollos.
Apollos is my favorite. He is definitely my Bible crush. I have asked the Lord if my mansion could be near his in the kingdom. He's a guy who shows up in the book of Acts, and he has heard about Jesus, and he's preaching this baptism of repentance. And Aquila and Priscilla show up, and he has not heard of who the Holy Spirit is. And so they ask him, like, do you know about the Holy Spirit? And it's this guy who he's preaching the gospel to a lot of people. He's sharing the good news. He's making converts, but he doesn't yet have all the information. And so even this guy who has a crowd and is well-informed is still missing some information and is humble enough to receive that information. And so we see later he is mentioned in Paul's letters, and he is one of the guys who built up the early church. And so I really like Apollos because he's both wise and humble. And I think those two go hand in hand. So
and he's got like a
favorite
Greek god name, too.
So I know, right?
Like, you name a kid that's good-looking Apollos, you don't name him Wally, you know?
Amen.
Yeah, he's going to have a chiseled jawline, that Apollos, I guarantee it.
So if you want to hear our whole conversation about reading the Bible and the Bible Recap, all you have to do is text the word RECAP to 91979. We have that for you there. You can sign up for it, as well as we actually played a game with Tara-Leigh as well, where I give her some names of oddly specific Bibles, and she has to tell me if it's a real version or one that I just made up, and it's pretty entertaining. So you can check that out there as well. Just text the word RECAP, RECAP, text RECAP to 91979, and we will send you a link.
It's easy to let the fear of the unknown keep us from doing something that is good for us, but going back to school might not be quite what you think.
Yeah, one of my biggest fears going back to school was I'd have to watch a ton of online lectures, and I kind of have a problem staying awake during stuff like that, but it was so different than I had imagined, and way better.
Yeah, for sure. I thought I was going to have to take a bunch of tests, which I am not a fan of, but instead I was able to write papers, which for me was way better.
Plus, you have the flexibility to work in school around your work and life schedule. Another big fear I had is, what if I don't understand something? What do I do?
Yeah, CCU, they foster community with your classmates, and they are a great resource. And Colorado Christian University has very responsive online professors who are there to help you so you are never alone as an online student at CCU.
Learn more about how you can pursue your passion and find your calling with Colorado Christian University at ccu.edu. Colorado Christian University is a nonprofit impact partner committed to cultivating the mind without compromising the heart.
Uplifting Way FM.
Stories served with a side of Southern sass.
You're breaking my hair.
I mean charm. Here's Betty Rock.
It's true what they say, time marches on. At some point, those who are young will find themselves getting old and saying, back in my day.
I know. I've even noticed that a little bit more with you, and you're quite a bit younger than me.
Right. That's been going on for a while for Wally, who is soon to be 55 and a Gen Xer.
That's it.
And now it's happening to me, too, as a millennial. Mine and Wally's generations got together to list some of the things that were great when we were growing up that Gen Zers like Gavin may never understand.
Okay, let's go through some of this and see if he even knows some of these things.
So the first one is the excitement you get of getting back developed film.
Okay, now, when I was a kid, you would take it and you would drop it off at a film place, like like they used to have little standalone kiosks, basically. You'd drop your little canister off and you'd get it back because you had no idea what you were going to get. You didn't know if you got the shot or not, so you were like, oh, horrible, horrible, horrible,
Right.
horrible, 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 passable, horrible,
Now, see, I didn't have the canisters that you're talking about. I had the disposable cameras.
Okay, yes.
So I think that's one step up, but that's
Right.
probably from the millennial
Yeah, but
age.
same thing. You're like, okay, you don't know what you're getting back. Now, you, Gavin, like you grew up with digital cameras. Take a picture, don't like it, delete it, and go on.
Yeah, I remember seeing my mom and dad, like, through family vacations. I remember seeing the canisters.
Yeah.
But that just is so warped by, like, my modern take, which is just, like, taking a selfie in front of, like, the Statue of Liberty and, like,
Right.
oh, that was bad. Let me take another one.
Yeah.
I can't imagine not knowing.
Back then, no one, the selfie wasn't invented because it was impossible
Yeah.
to hold a 35 millimeter camera out, take a selfie, and then
So true.
you'd get half your face, so it's not even worth it.
It's so true. Boredom causing you to have to be creative. So
Yes.
kids found themselves bored. Well, in that time, you would learn an instrument or you
Yeah.
would draw, you would paint, you would go outside. You wouldn't play video games.
My mom, we didn't have video games growing up, and my mom, her big thing when I got on her nerves was like, go outside and run around the house. Like
Probably
that.
told you that all the time.
She did. It's amazing I wasn't abducted. Like I spent so much time outside, but they would have brought me back.
Yeah, for sure. And then finally, not having all your mistakes posted on the internet forever.
Oh,
Can you
yeah.
imagine if the internet or social media was a thing back when you were a kid, Wally? Like
No.
there would be things that
Yes.
you would not want us to remember.
Absolutely.
I don't know if you'd be here.
It's
still.
bad enough that they had audio back then because there's like my band Heaven's Fire. There's audio
Yes.
of that. Can you imagine if there was video of that?
Oh my gosh, I would pay money.
There is one video, but I
What?
can't find it.
Oh, come on.
That's
You
a lie.
haven't looked hard enough. Come on.
But I don't have
like a
V-
music video?
Yeah, I don't have no, it was a live concert footage, and I don't have a VCR, even if I found
come
it.
on. Oh, come on. I'll buy a VCR. No. Let's go to Goodwill.
Yeah, I
That's
don't
so exciting.
I'll have to look for it and see.
Yeah, look a little harder.
Yeah, okay, maybe next year. No.
No, today.
Uplifting Way FM. This is the Wally Show. We are going to play one of Betty Rock's favorite games and one of my worst nightmares. I do not like this game at all because I don't like not being good at something. Betty doesn't mind. And so we're going to do the impersonation game where we're each going to do an
that was rude.
impersonation. It was fast though, wasn't it?
Oh, it was so good.
It just went by. And so you have to get 2 out of 3 right, and we're going to do an impersonation. You just simply have to tell us who we are impersonating, but none of us are very good at it with the exception of Betty and her one impersonation.
Speak for yourself. Which
Yeah.
one?
The one Sean Connery.
Oh, I'm Sean Connery.
There it is, nailed it. But okay, now
But
it's just
here's
one.
the thing. But you can't say I'm Sean Connery in this game. You have to say something Sean Connery would say.
I'm not Sean
Right,
Connery.
and you can't say that. So yeah, that makes it tougher because you have to think like the character. Okay,
we'll see.
like we'll do an example. And again, this is how bad I am at this. Okay.
Woo, he's so good. Come
I know.
on.
I hate this. So we're drawing them out of a bowl. No, gee. All right. Let me think here. I'm trying to remember like a movie he was in because that would help.
So it's a guy. Okay.
Yeah, and he's a movie star. Now I can't do it for you. You gotta look at the guy next to you and say, "Is that guy gonna go the 6 inches with me?" I can't do it for you. Hooah!
Oh no, it's a war movie.
No.
Oh, is it
No.
Mel Gibson?
Denzel Washington from?
You think I sound like Denzel, fans? I love Denzel.
That's a big
I know.
deal.
I was thinking it sounded kind of football-ish.
There you go. Okay, you're on the right track.
Oh, Sport World?
Yes.
Matthew McConaughey.
No.
He's too angry.
All right. Yeah. Yeah, because he was
Christian
very
Bale.
passionate. He's very passionate. Now I can't do it for you. That's a little southern. Now I can't do it for you. You got to look in the eyes of the man next to you and say, "Is he going to go that 6 inches with me?"
Oh, Billy Bob Thornton.
No.
That was good.
Oh,
So Facing the Giants? I don't know.
It's Al Pacino, Any Given Sunday.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, you are bad at this.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to find out how bad you are, too. All right, so we'll throw that one away. And I told you I'm not good at this, and I told you I hate this game.
That was bad.
8.
I'm sorry. I'm going to be just as
it
bad.
from her, okay? I don't expect it from you, Brutus. 855-33-WAY-FM. It's 855-33-WAY-FM. If you want to play the game with us, you got to get 2 out of 3 of our horrible impressions right. You can win a prize. 855-33-WAY-FM. Uplifting Way FM. This is the Wally Show. Matthew, welcome to my least favorite game that we do, the impersonation game. Betty Rock loves it for some reason, because I think she thinks she's good at this.
I know I am.
Okay, all right. So the way it works, Matthew, is we're each going to reach into a fishbowl, grab a person to impersonate, do our best impersonation, and then you just simply have to tell us who we are doing. If you get 2 out of 3 right, you win a prize. So let's start with the queen. Let's start with the number 1 lady of this. Get your person out of the fishbowl. Okay, don't tell us who it is, obviously.
Oh, I've got this
Okay,
one.
no.
All right. Matthew, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Well, I just want to kill over like a fainting goat.
That sounds like Dolly Parton.
No way!
No way!
No way you got Dolly Parton.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be Betty, actually. I'm like, did we have Betty in the bowl?
Oh, my goodness. Well done, Matthew.
Keel over like a fainting goat. Like, I would not have thought that was something Dolly would have said.
Oh, she has said that. That is verbatim what
Is it?
she has said.
Well,
Yes.
I should have known. All right, Gavin, you're up next. You could win it right here with a good impersonation from Gavin.
Okay, let's see here. I think this is the one line I can think of is,
Okay.
I'm walking here.
I know the line, but I can't remember who it is. I think I know who it is. Okay.
I want to say Robert De Niro,
That's
but
it.
I don't think so.
That is it.
That was
Nicely done. It's like Robert De Niro. I'm walking here.
I'm walking here.
Well, there you go. That is great. Well, Matthew, you only had to get 2 out of 3
No,
right.
no. You have to do one,
I don't
Wally.
even have to
you
do
have
one.
to do what, Matthew? Don't you want Wally to do one?
Well, I guessed his Al Pacino right off the bat. So
See? Thank
not
you.
bad at it.
Yeah, but he needs a second go round because that one was pretty rough.
Okay, here we go. This will just be for fun. You've already won, Matthew, but this is just for my humiliation. Thanks, Rock.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay. Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, I can see him, and I know how his body, like, mannerisms. Let me see here. Well, I'm just, oh, my, this is horrible. This is so bad.
No, do it.
I dislike you so much,
Do
Rock,
it.
for making me
Do
do
it.
this. I don't even know what he says. I'm looking for my ship, the Black Pearl. I'm just looking for my ship. And I might go swashbuckle a little.
Do you know Matthew?
I'm going to say that one is a bad one. Johnny Depp?
Yeah! Johnny
my
Depp
goodness.
and Jack Sparrow! You nailed it!
That was really bad.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, fainting goat. All right, well, Matthew, you clean swept that, and you are the big winner today on the game we might do again next year. Uplifting Way FM. This is the Wally Show. Going to do a little Time Capsule Tuesday where we travel back in time. We each pick a song from a year that we're like, oh, I remember this song. I love this song. And then you tell us who has the best taste in music from back in the day. The year is what, Lady Rock?
2012.
Okay, so not, I mean, a little bit back. 13 years, 11 years rather?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both of us doing math.
It's
just so cute.
It's fun to watch.
But we got there. That's important. So 2012, let's start with Gavin. Who did you go with?
Okay, so I went with For King and Country.
Okay.
And sometimes it just blows my mind that they've already been around for as long as they have.
Yeah.
And they've been producing great music. But this was the one that I think got me started on them. It's Proof of Your Love.
Oh, yes. They've written so many great songs that, you could forget some of their really great songs. I remember still meeting them years and years ago at like Winter Jam, and they were an opening band, and no one knew who they were, and they came outside. It's freezing. It's kind of snowing, and they walked the line of everybody waiting to get in, and they sat there and played songs, and then they'd walk another 20 feet and play more and stuff. It was the coolest thing and the smartest thing on their part, but they've always been like super into their fans and appreciative. It was they're stand up. Cool. They're really cool. Lady Rock, what are you gonna put up?
I went with the classic Matthew West, Forgiveness.
Oh yeah. Help me now to do the impossible. Forgiveness. And I don't say this as a dig, but this sounds like it could be a song he released yesterday. Like it's not like
he's timeless.
He is, like, his songs are him. You know they're him. Some artists, they lose their way and they start trying to be something they're not. And so that's a great song, and I definitely remember that one. Okay, so mine is going to be another band by the name of 10th Avenue North, and it's their song Losing. I've always liked Mike Donahue. He's very heady. And he writes really honestly, I think, and a lot of this stuff resonates with me. It's like, Father, give me strength to forgive him because I feel like I'm losing. Like, to me, so many altercations are win or lose, and I have to learn grace and forgiveness and all that stuff. So that's why that song resonated with me. So which is your favorite song that we've been playing for you now back in 2012? Forgiveness, Matthew West, Proof of Your Love, For King and Country, or Losing, 10th Avenue North? Who do you think has the best taste in music and why? 855-33-WAY-FM. You can let us know now. 855-33-WAY-FM. Uplifting Way FM. This is the Wally Show. Abigail, welcome to Time Capsule Tuesday. Now, we went back to the year 2012. You've heard the songs Forgiveness by Matthew West, Proof of Your Love by For King and Country, and Losing by 10th Avenue North. That was mine. Gavin's was For King and Country, and Betty Rock's was Matthew West. Who do you think has the best taste in music and why?
I am voting for Gavin today with For King and Country, Proof of Your Love. We actually got to dance to one of their songs at our wedding, so they're one of our favorite bands.
Oh, nice. What song did you pick? God Only Knows What I'm In
If
For?
Only, no. We danced to This Is Love.
Oh, nice. That's really cool. I'm a huge For King and Country fan. They're one of the few bands I think that's done a good job at experimenting with different styles, but still sounding like them, but changing it up.
For sure. And one of my favorite memories is I got to dance on stage with them at our state fair.
Oh, there you go. They're playing the big rooms doing the state fairs. That's kind of nice. Well, here you go, all the way back to 2012. Gavin, it appears that you have the best taste in music today, at least according to Abigail. It's For King and Country, Proof of Your Love on Way FM.
If I sing but don't have love, I waste my breath with every song I bring. An empty voice, a hollow noise. If I speak with a silver tongue, convince a
Uplifting Way FM.
Wonder if Wally will have an opinion on this.
Wally, I respect you, but word to the wise, never trust a short man named Wally.
It's the Wally Show.
Finally, the government is addressing some of the biggest concerns we have. No, not inflation. No, not interest rates. No, not immigration. The Republican-led House Oversight Committee will hold a hearing on UFOs. Yes, exactly. Officially now called Unidentified Aerial Phenomena, or UAPs. I guess it's more inclusive.
Don't change our UFOs.
Yeah, it includes all anomalies, apparently. But the hearing comes after lawmakers have promised to look into deeper UAPs following unconfirmed claims from a former intelligence official that the U.S. military had allegedly found alien spacecraft that crashed. So
I think what started this whole thing was when the Navy, no, it wasn't the Navy, it was the Air Force, and they released those videos where they saw these things and they couldn't explain it, and then it got out into the public.
There is stuff like that on flight cams and stuff that pilots are like, I don't know what that was. Now, if you don't believe in UFOs, a lot of people go, those are demons or something like that, and so I've heard that excuse or that explanation. The Pentagon said it hasn't discovered any information like this substantive to this claim. Don't worry about it.
They told us the truth.
Yeah, but then this one congressman was like, the American people deserve to know. The government needs to trust the American people. You mean trust the same people that freaked out and made a run on toilet paper during a pandemic?
Don't trust us.
No, you can't trust the American people.
No.
We panic. Like, absolutely. I don't agree with that. I would like to know if there was UFO information they had, and I'd love to see that stuff declassified, like Area 51 and all that would be fantastic. Kevin McCarthy, he's the House Speaker, was asked if he believes in extraterrestrial life in the light of the hearing, and he said, we'll continue to see, but I think if we had found a UFO, I think the Department of Defense would tell us because they'd probably want to request more money. Of course, the alphabet agencies, CIA, FBI, all that stuff, they say that the majority of unidentified objects that are reported are unmanned aerial systems, balloons, clutter, natural phenomena. Yeah, but that's what they're going to say.
Yeah.
I don't believe in UFOs.
We don't trust them. They don't trust us.
Exactly, and that's how we all exist. But I just don't believe in other life on other planets and stuff like that. I just don't, because I've always contended that I think it hurts the Christ story. If there are other alien races, then if everybody is sinful and needs a savior to get to God, then you would have to extrapolate that across galaxies, unless they are perfect beings, which we've been told there aren't any. And so that's where, when faith and UFOs kind of collide to me, I go, I don't see Jesus going to all these other galaxies to die for people's sins. And I think that's what makes our faith and our religion different and special. It makes us unique, is that God cared enough to send his son for us, not green things that, can fly.
Interesting.
Yeah, this is my take. Anyway.
Okay.
I mean, you may agree with me, may not. I don't know. I'm willing to have my mind changed, but that's just kind of where I landed on that.
Uplifting Way FM.
If no news is good news, this is great news.
That's not really a joke.
I disagree. I find it hilarious.
It's news-ish on The Wally Show.
What you got, Gavin?
I would argue that smartphones were probably one of the greatest invention in that it allows us to access information quickly, take amazing photos quickly, and contact our friends whenever we want. But then, on the other caveat, it also, I think, makes us zombies, and we can't seem to exist without them. I know I don't like going too long without it myself.
I've never been like a futurist or somebody that's ahead of the curve on technology. I tend to be more reluctant, a late adopter, and kind of think, oh, that's not going to work. And the iPhone was like that. I still remember I was at church, and this kid, Josh Lamb, got the first iPhone that it came out, the very first generation that it came out. And I'm like, you don't have two nickels to rub together. How are you buying this? How are you going to use this? And they were so expensive, back then. And I'm like, this is never going to work. And then turns out, I was wrong. iPhones are pretty great.
Well, speaking of first generation iPhones, one recently popped up in the news because a woman actually sold it, a first generation iPhone, for $190,000.
No way.
And I
Why?
never in my world had thought that this was going to be the case, but because it was such a rare commodity, because this first generation phone was the initial 4 gig model, which was discontinued only 2 months after it was produced. So somebody saw value in that being like a...
Well, it's
like
rare.
It's history. Yeah, it's historical.
Rare.
It's
Okay.
historical at this point, which is weird because in my head, I don't think of an iPhone as being capable of being part of history, but the first iPhone came out in 2007. It's already been out for, what is that, like 16 years now.
Yeah.
And so even earlier this year, there was a woman who bought an 8 gig phone, which came out after that first one. They bought that for $630,000.
Okay, now, like, is this like toys where they've got to be, to get this kind of money, I would imagine they have to be in perfect condition and, like, the original wrapping and stuff like that?
I did look it up. It was in perfect condition. Do you guys know what the original 4 gig model, first generation iPhone, do you remember what it was sold for back in 2007?
$1,000.
Well,
I'm trying to remember Josh, the
Two Nickels guy.
The Two Nickels, the guy that guy was just talking about. Betty had already checked out by that point. She's like, "Who's Josh? And why are we bringing him up? Because I just talked about him. Eyes on me. Look at me,
Josh. Yeah. Josh.
And I want to say it was under 1,000, but like I don't know how much.
It was $499.
Okay,
so
and at the time when we hadn't seen technology like that seemed crazy. Now that's a deal because they're all $1,000, you know, and so
except for this one that went for $190,000.
That
for
is
somebody
crazy.
who just wanted a collector's iPhone.
I wonder what the 4 iPod Nanos in my drawer are worth, man. Like I think if you go to your drawer, you have so many versions of the iPod, you know, that you had used, upgraded.
And what do you do with that stuff?
Nothing.
Like, do you take it somewhere?
It's disposable, unfortunately. That's what the technology has become for those kind of things, for sure. Well, there you go. Thanks, Gavin, for the update. That's your news-ish.
I wasn't even listening. I was listening to podcasts.
Uplifting Way FM. This is The Wally Show. And every day we do a live aftercast. It's our podcast after the show. And it's new content that we didn't cover during the course of the show. And you can get it for free and be one of our potties by simply signing up.
Yeah, just text the letters TWS, which stand for The Wally Show. So TWS to 91979.
And we don't charge for it. And you'll see why after we play this little clip. Probably you're like, yeah, you couldn't charge for that. No, but I have a lot of fun, as we all do in the Aftercast, because a lot of times it's where we discuss longer form things, sometimes controversial things, or other times just fun and it goes somewhere we didn't see coming. And so the Aftercast is a place where we'll share those stories from our lives, and most of the time they serve as reminders of what not to do. Like this one from Betty Rock talking about seeing a lady at church she had not seen for a few months.
I turn around and I see her and I'm like, oh, hey, so when are you having that baby?
No, you did that?
And she said, I already had the baby. I felt so bad.
I can't believe you did that.
I knew she was expecting a baby.
Right.
I was right about all of those things. It was just that she
How long had it been?
It hadn't been long, like not even a month. And she was back at church. But still, I meant well.
Yeah.
But man, I never want to see her again.
Guys have learned this. Most guys have learned you never
I told, I think it was my mom or a friend of mine, I don't remember, what you said one time where you were like, you never ask about the baby.
No.
Like, even if you think she's pregnant, you don't even ask, even if the baby is coming out.
Yeah, if you're an obstetrician, you don't even ask if she's pregnant. As a guy, you kind of like, you act surprised too. You're like, hey, what? Look at that! You're having a baby! Well, this is crazy. Let's go ahead and deliver this thing. You never ask. You just don't. Yep, sometimes you get some really great life advice, and other times you get that. So, if you want to, again, be one of our potties, we love having people listen to that and interact with the show on that deeper level. Just text the word TWS. It's actually the letters TWS to 91979, and we will send you a link to our Aftercast.
Oh, what's this? An email? For me?
Uplifting Way FM. This is the Wally Show. If you ever want to email me, it's just so simple. Just email me, wally@wayfm.com. Like Laura did. She says, hey, Wally, I listen to your show most mornings, and I love it. I love the debates that you guys deal with. But I have to tell you that I am disappointed in you. And I always love that. It's like, oh,
go figure.
Hey, Mom. She says, the woman who changed your mind used a Jedi mind trick on you. We had been doing Five Calls it about TV shows from your childhood, and if it was in reruns, was it actually from your childhood? That was the big debate we had, and I had said no, it wasn't. And then this lady called and made a really good point, and I'm like, oh, you know what? I kind of see it your way. You have done the impossible. You've changed my mind. But now Laura is calling me out, saying, no, you are a simple-minded fool.
Oh my goodness!
Wow. Okay.
That's so great.
Jeez.
Her point about the content of TV shows versus today is irrelevant to the question. As much as it pains me to say, you were correct the first time. The old TV shows from your childhood, from means used to indicate a source of origin, used to indicate the origin or location situation. This being said, you and Betty can both be right. If you say, Wally, Gilligan's Island is a show from my childhood, but Betty says Gilligan's Island is a show I watched during my childhood. So she found a way to bring us back together by the use of semantics. Yeah,
but she's super judgmental about it.
Yeah, she's kidding.
Okay.
No, she gets the sense of humor of the show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like, no, I know where like some of the emails I read you think they're kidding. You pray and hope they're kidding, and they're not.
They're not.
And they sound like this, but she's just kidding. So,
okay.
Yeah, okay. Laura gets the sense of humor of the show, which I love. That's what we love. When people listen and they respond and they talk about things that we're talking about. You can always do that. Wally at wayfm.com. Uplifting Way FM. This is the Wally Show. Well, we're at it again. World's biggest baby shower. No, this is so great. Like, we actually get this time. We did this last year. It's the world's biggest baby shower. It's to help moms in need when they find themselves kind of at a difficult point and they don't have the resources to take care of this new child. And the last thing they need is judgment and condemnation. They need help. And that's one of the cool things is we did this last year. We had 55,000 diapers that were donated, 44,000 wipes, 200 cans of formula, and $30,000 in gift cards.
Wow.
Donated to pregnancy centers nationwide that we've partnered with. And I think that's so cool because it's a tangible way to live out your faith. We can all debate the politics of this stuff, obviously, and we do. But I do believe if you have an opinion or if you're if you're adverse to what's going on and the way people do things, if you don't like that and you say, hey, I'm standing for this, I'm pro-life, I'm standing for this, I think you have to go one layer deeper and go, okay, I'm going to be part of the solution, not just the discussion. And that's what this is. This is a chance to live out your faith and be part of the solution more than just a conversation.
Yeah, and we've made it so easy for you. When you text the word baby to 91979, you can get all the information that you need, like drop-off locations, what's needed, things like that. But it's an easy way to live out your faith.
Yep, diapers, formula, wipes, gift cards, all that stuff's needed. We even have an Amazon link so you can make it super fast and super simple if you want to help out. And if that's like something you feel called to do, you've been seeing the stories on the news and, man, I wish there was something I could do. I kind of feel helpless in this. And you go, oh, no, wait, here's something you can do. And we'd love to have you partner with us because at the end of the day, you're making a tangible difference in somebody's life by meeting a physical need, and then they also get the gospel as part of this, and that's what's important is you give them both. And so we'd love to have you be part of it. Again, text the word baby to 91979 and we will most certainly send you a link. Uplifting Way FM. This is the Wally Show, and Tasha Layton is a great female artist that we play here, and I genuinely love her music. But I remember we played a song from her, How Far?
A million miles of my mistakes, so couldn't keep.
And I couldn't help but notice that sounded, and I think we all agreed, that sounded a lot like a Greatest Showman song.
Man,
it's got that vibe, does it not?
I still hear it like every single time. We play that song on the radio, and that's the song that comes to my brain every time.
You hear it too, right, Rock?
Oh, for sure.
Okay, so I'm not crazy.
No,
but then recently, apparently Gavin thinks Tasha's back at it again with a new song.
I do, and maybe you guys can disagree with me on this.
Okay, you're going to have to defend this because I'm not sure.
I will. So her song, she came out with this new song, and it's called Never. And when I heard it personally,
never.
Okay,
is that it?
That's the one that I think that it reminded me of.
Oh, from Greatest Showman.
So here's which one do you want to do? You want to do Greatest Showman first?
No,
or
let's
her?
do Tasha first.
Okay, so this is her song Never.
Never forgotten, never
And I do love this song.
Yeah,
I'm a
it's
huge
good.
Tasha fan. I love it. Okay, so now you think it sounds like this Never Enough from The Greatest Showman?
Am I crazy? I feel like it kind of does.
Yeah.
Like, at least inspired by it.
Yeah, it has that vibe. I think there's a couple things working against her.
Okay.
It's that she sounds like the girl from Greatest Showman.
A little bit.
So that's one layer. But then the music is equally dramatic.
It's theatrical.
Yes.
Oh, that's a great way to describe it.
Theatrical.
I think she's a big theater fan.
And it's showing in her new work.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
for sure.
And
so
I thought, it'd be interesting if they, in essence, collaborated.
Okay.
And obviously, the song is from a decade plus ago, and hers just came out. But I actually worked on a version of what it might sound like if they
kind of
their
mash
song.
it up together.
Yeah.
So now maybe you get a better feel for the two songs together. So this is a mashup of Tasha Layton's Hook Never and The Greatest Showman Never Enough. And they're even titled the same.
I know, right?
Like that's not helping.
I know.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I think you've done it again. That is definitely inspired by The Greatest Showman. Which, you know what? The Greatest Showman music is great, and Tasha Layton's music is great, so why not have them sound great together?
We can never have enough.
No, never.
Growing up in poverty has never been easy for children, but with the added challenges of the pandemic, conflict, and natural disasters, families around the world are facing an unprecedented food crisis. Unfortunately, those who are already hungry are now even more desperate. But by sponsoring a child through compassion, you can help provide life-sustaining essentials such as food and clean water. And with your compassionate support, that child can not only survive, but also flourish. You can find out how and choose a child to sponsor when you click on the compassion banner at wayfm.com.
Uplifting Way FM. If it's trending, streaming, or starring, Betty Rock's got it. On The Rock Report. Hey, Betty.
Since 2002, ABC's show The Bachelor has focused on young love and bring young singles together in the hopes of finding their one and only. But that's all changing thanks to their new installment, and it's called The Golden Bachelor.
Betty's excited about this one.
I am so excited.
You've been out on the regular Bachelor for years.
For years.
Never cared.
It's cheesy. It's dumb. I don't like it.
Salacious.
But I might be tuning into this. So, The Golden Bachelor is still bringing singles together, but from the older generations. And the first ever Golden Bachelor has been announced. May I introduce to you Jerry Turner?
Oh, Jerry.
Jerry Turner is a 71-year-old retired grandpa. A little bit about him. He was married for 43 years to his high school sweetheart.
Adorable.
They had 2 daughters and became grandparents to 2 granddaughters. But sadly, Jerry's wife passed away in 2017.
Okay, that's in a respectable amount of time to start dating again and go on a TV dating show. You don't want to do that the next week.
No, of course not. When asked if he was ready for finding love again, Jerry said, and this is a quote, and get your tissues ready. He said, "My wife and I always told each other when one of us goes, we want the other to be happy. She's up there rooting for me."
Oh, man. Very nice.
The Golden Bachelor is set to premiere this fall on ABC, and that's when Jerry will meet 30 single older ladies.
Okay.
65 and older.
Okay, that was my thing.
That makes it great.
Yeah,
because
he's
71?
71,
Right.
so they have to be 65 or older.
Okay. Because here's the deal. Like, he's a good-looking dude for 71. I would not have thought he was 71. He's well put together. He's maintained himself. And so my question was, to make the show more interesting, are they going to have younger women? Because that's the stereotype. So 65 and older is pretty remarkable. I thought they'd be in the 50s.
Right. No, they're saying 65 and older.
And I thought they'd toss 130 in there to blow things up.
Don't ruin this, because what I'm envisioning is, like, instead of the dates being salacious like they've always been in the past, I have a picture in my mind that they're, like, going to go painting,
Yes.
or they're going to take knitting classes together.
Talk
or they're
Metamucil.
Yes! Or they're going to go and get an eye exam together like Gavin and his wife did in their 20s.
Yes.
I just think it's going to be so sweet. It's like watching your grandparents fall in love again.
I hope it is. I hope they lean into the sweet nature of it and don't make it full of salacious drama.
Honestly, we don't need that in the 65 plus.
No,
club.
absolutely not.
Read the room.
I do think, honestly, they should throw one 35-year-old in there just because it will upset the entire apple cart. And I guarantee you he would keep her around longer than he should. That's how it always works. The crazy one always lasts way longer than they should because the guy's like, there's something about her, because guys make dumb decisions. I just think that would be an interesting study in human psychology.
Well, I don't support that at all.
No.
I want all the grandmas, all the widowed single grandmas to come together and vie for Jerry's heart, and I'm going to be so in.
All right, well, we'll see how it goes. That's going to do it for your Rock Report. Thank you, Lady Rock. Uplifting Way FM, this is The Wally Show. And when it comes to finding our place in the world, we often get a little crippled by comparison. But we're not alone. It happens to even famous people. Danielle Jonas is opening up about being married to a Jonas brother. She's a businesswoman, reality TV star. She's 36 years old. She married Kevin Jonas, who's 35, and said, sometimes it can be challenging finding my place in a family in the spotlight and having sister-in-laws who are famous actresses. When I'm with the other girls, I feel just a little less than sometimes.
And I get that, because when you're marrying into a family, you compare yourself to the other daughter-in-laws, and one of them is a big-time actress. The other one, I think, is also an actress and a model, maybe?
Yeah.
And then there's you. That would be hard not to compare yourself.
Well, she married the right Jonas, though. She married Kevin, who often is overlooked as well, because he's not Nick or the other one, Joe.
The good guitarist.
Yeah,
the good brother.
Yeah,
I love that you two know more about him than I ever would.
Probably do, yeah. But it's funny because Kevin actually said he actually identified with this, what his wife was saying, because he's always compared to Nick and Joe. He says, I feel that way too. Nick and Joe, am I right? Like solo careers, movies, all the stuff. Everyone has to find their place no matter what their situation is. And, we do this. We compare ourselves to people all the time, whether it's financially, whether it's status. Sometimes even inside of faith, we compare ourselves to others. I'm not as good a believer as that person, or sadly, I'm better than that person, And so I just want to kind of discuss this whole idea of comparison. Who is that person that you maybe got crippled by comparing yourself to? Because I spent a lot of years doing this inside of my business, comparing myself to other radio people. In my personal life, I wasn't as successful as this guy that I knew, and it really drove me to the wrong things for a lot of years, and drove me to seek out money and fame and all of that stuff, all those trappings. And it wasn't until I was able to let that stuff go. And for me, the secret was being happy for someone that accumulated something versus being jealous for them. And that was a tough thing for me.
I think one of the biggest things that's helped me is just being thankful for what I have.
Yeah.
Like when you're busy looking at someone else's blessings, you can't pay attention to your own. And so trying to put your focus back on what you have is so much healthier.
Yeah. So there you go. Betty and I, honest about ours. And so that's what we ask of you. This show is all about honesty. And so I'd love to hear, who was that person that you compared yourself to? And did you find your way out of it? And how did you do that? So 855-33-WAY-FM is the number. We love having you on the show, especially for the serious conversations too. So 855-33-WAY-FM. Who was that person, Joni, that you struggled comparing yourself to, and how did you kind of break free of that?
Well, it was both of my sisters. They're both younger than me, and there were many, many years of they are more successful, they are more educated, they are prettier, they have more financially. It was a long time, way too long. It shouldn't have been that long. And then finally, one day, I was like, I've known this my whole entire Christian life, but it just really hit me between the eyes. God doesn't make any mistakes, and I am the way I am because this is exactly how He created me, and I need to be happy about that, and I need to just accept that where I'm at in life is where God needs me to be.
We're all created uniquely, and we have a unique opportunity to speak into other people's lives that somebody else might not have that opportunity. And I think so understanding that lets you better live out your purpose inside of your faith, and it also leads to contentment.
Well, and then when I let all that go, my relationship with both my sisters now is absolutely amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah, sometimes we pray, oh, Lord, just change that person. But when we change ourselves, we find that miraculously those other relationships can also change too.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, Joni, thanks for being on the show with us today. I really appreciate you.
Love you guys so much. Thanks for all you do.
All right, so there you go. That's Joni's. What is yours? Who did you compare yourself to, and what helped you kind of break free of that? 855-33-WAY-FM. If you want to weigh in on this, we'd love to have you. 855-33-WAY-FM. And so have you ever caught yourself in that place comparing yourself to somebody else, and how'd you get around it?
Oh, yes. My best friend, we've been best friends since we were 14 years old. We are polar opposites. She's tall, beautiful, tan, and I am pasty white. And I have curly, frizzy hair. She has beautiful, long, straight hair. And it took time, and just time is a great equalizer. We're still best friends today, but we grew together as we got older and just recognized that we each had strengths the other one didn't have, and that strengthened our friendship.
Absolutely. Can I let you in on a little secret here today, Kathy, too?
Sure.
Okay, now here's what you don't know about your thin, tall, straight-haired friend. She actually wants to be more like you because she would love to have curly hair and pasty skin because we always want what we don't have. And I know it sounds crazy, but I'm sure she looks at things that you have and was like, man, I wish I had that. Kathy, we appreciate you being on the show with us today. Thank you for calling and being part of it.
Absolutely. Appreciate y'all.
And now for some good news.
Uplifting Way FM. This here is the Good News Giddy Up on the Wally Show. It's 3 rapid-fire good news stories designed to make you feel better about this world because the regular news can be a bit of a bummer and slightly divisive. So this is kind of cool. A flight attendant on a Southwest Airlines found out that a 6-year-old girl was on the flight that was doing, or was a guy that was doing his Make-A-Wish flight, and the flight attendant was a guy, and brought her up to the front of the plane to do a special announcement.
This is Miss Jessa, and Miss Jessa is on her way home from her Make-A-Wish Foundation trip, and she, are y'all ready for this, has just beaten cancer and is now cancer-free. How do you like that?
Woo! There you go. That makes you feel a little bit better about the flight delay, and everything you complained about getting on the food. What, no peanuts because someone has a peanut allergy? And then they're like, Miss Jess is cancer-free. You're like, oh, I get it now. Balance. Gavin, good news, giddy up, go.
Great news for humanity. Researchers at NASA and the University of Colorado say that all of the dangerous asteroids we know of, none of them are going to hit Earth for at least 1,000 years.
Sweet, I knew it. I knew this was not going to be an issue for us to worry about. Not even my kid to worry about. What? Not even a couple grandkids. It's awesome news.
It's one thing to take off your shoulders. You don't have to stress about it.
So great. Because I know I've seen the movies, the asteroid movies, terrifying.
Yeah.
Armageddon.
So, yes.
I don't want to close my eyes.
I don't want to fall asleep. Okay, anyway. Good news, giddy up. Betty Rock, go.
There was a 51-year-old guy from Australia. He got lost at sea for 2 months.
Wow.
With his dog, Bella.
Oh, Bella.
They left Mexico in April, but his boat got damaged in a storm, so they were just left to drift. But thankfully, they were able to be spotted by a helicopter that went over, and they were rescued. Him and his dog were able to make it by surviving on raw fish and rainwater.
That dog was probably doing the fishing. Like, he'd be like see a fish, jump in the water, and bring it back to him. Because he's like, I know he's looking at me like he's going to eat me if things get bad.
This is good news, giddy up. It's not an opportunity for you to ruin everything.
No, it's a good news for the dog. The guy didn't have to eat him. Like, it's perfect. The dog's like, hey, I can fish. Don't worry about it. All right, that's going to do it for your good news, giddy up, kind of, today.
Well, that's the end, but it doesn't have to be. Check out our Aftercast. It's new stuff you didn't hear in the podcast. Be sure to rate us on iTunes as well as connect with us on social media. Just search Wally Show. And if you'd like to join our Facebook group made exclusively for you potties, the link is in the description of this podcast. Thanks to Colorado Christian University Online for supporting what we do.